As we look back on the past few years, we marvel at what God has done here. We've been able to upgrade our facilities by adding a new water line, resurfacing our parking lot, watching God complete 31st Street for us. Huge miracle. Watching Him again provide the monies for the renovation of bathrooms and preschool classrooms, the addition of the new sails in the courtyard, and energy-saving eaves on the exterior of the sanctuary.
And God's not done. We still have our new lighting package coming for the sanctuary this spring.
But in addition to this, as we've watched God continue to grow us both online and in person over the last several years, we've been praying for Him to show us next steps.
So we put together a building committee to ask the question, where is God leading us? What is it that we can do to take that next huge step forward with our facility? And the answer that we kept coming back to, that was the next logical step, was to enclose our courtyard and create an indoor fellowship space for our congregation.
Why this? Well, one of the biggest needs that we've had over the years is not having a big indoor space where we can do fellowship events, dinners, youth events, and preschool events. Enclosing our courtyard accomplishes that, but it also accomplishes adding the flexibility that we are also so desperately in need of to grow our church.
In terms of first impressions, which is an outreach term, it'll enhance our face to this community. It'll increase parking. It'll add quality, create interior restrooms and nursery, an indoor coffee house and seating, plus a huge climate-controlled gathering space to hang out in before and after services.
In terms of ministry, it will provide for us finally that big interior space that we've been needing to expand what we are able to do for youth, preschool, fellowship events, and overflow solutions.
In terms of quality, it expands and finishes out our parking with city flourishes. It allows our preschool to take that next step towards a higher rating, and allows us the opportunity in a significant way to improve the campus security on our site.
All of these possibilities are why we feel God has been leading us towards this as the next big step for our facility.
So, how do we get there from here? In order to close in the courtyard, our city requires us to first add new parking, and the underground plumbing for the fire risers will be needing to add to our site.
One of the requirements is that we bring up our parking lot to more current codes. So that means we're going to add landscape islands. We're going to make sure the parking spaces are in the right size and in the right location, and make sure that we have adequate accessible parking, and also curb, gutter, and sidewalk, landscaping along the street, and even lighting in our parking lot to make sure that there's a safe environment for us to be out when it's dark.
So this will solve our need for parking, since we will be adding new spots, and also will replace the temporary parking in the back. Now all of this, that's the first phase. But to enclose the courtyard will need to be accomplished in 3 phases.
The first phase is the parking lot, to replace the temporary parking with paved parking, and to add new spots south towards Thunderbird and also north towards the back wall. Within this phase, our first goal is to raise $760,000 to finish out the parking lot. And our second goal is to raise an additional $90,000 for a total of $850,000 to get not only the parking lot, but also get a new LED monument sign on Thunderbird.
The second phase begins with closing in the courtyard to make it into an indoor-outdoor space, and then the third phase is to fully close it in and make it into an interior space as pictured. How quickly we can accomplish all 3 phases will depend on God's power and people's generosity, but so far with the first phases, we're off to a good start. As a result, we're calling this campaign Building the Foundation, because even though the parking lot solves one of our biggest needs right now, it also creates a foundation to be able to finally add square footage on our campus.
And this is an investment for today, because it creates better curb appeal and additional parking spaces for our community. But it's also an investment in the future, Think about it. The whole reason we're able to gather and worship in the sanctuary is because a group of faithful believers in the 1960s chose to make an investment and build this building. In the 70s, they chose to build the classrooms. And in the 80s, they put in the modulars. You know, all these are still being used for God's glory today.
As a church, we have an opportunity to build the foundation for a facility that will be used by generations to come and for many, many decades. Many people ask, how can I leave a legacy? By investing in this campaign, you will be able to leave a legacy to help share the message of hope with our community for years to come.
We invite you to pick up a brochure or go to hopephx.com/building to learn more about this campaign. We also invite you to spend the next few weeks in prayer to pray that God will move our hearts and minds and consider investing in this vision.
On November 3rd, we're going to have town hall meetings after each worship service to answer as many questions as we can. And so we absolutely invite you to stick around after each worship service that day to learn more about this project and, of course, to ask any questions you may have.
We've seen God do incredible things over the years, and we pray that God continues to use this place, this ministry, to share the message that our world desperately needs. Hope. Hope for the hurting, hope for the broken, and hope for the lost.